Okay, we have a really exciting announcement.
Okay.
Not we, but Jenny Lynn has really done a heart and soul project, and it's work that she's been doing for some time, and I want her to share about it.
Okay. It's a parenting plan course. It's 8 classes. It's all video based, and it walks you through step by step how a parenting plan works and how to create one that works for you in your schedule. It's at parentingplan101.com. It is a labor of love. I've been thinking about it for years, and doing this has really brought it home for me. It's not legal advice, but what it is walking people through what to expect and how these parenting plans work. Because as a single mom, as a mom of 3 kids, as a mom who's been in a high conflict custody case for years, what I know right now is I know fucking parenting plans. Yeah. So parentingplan101.com. Go check it out. First class is free. If you can't afford all the classes and you want to take them, send me an email at support@parentingplan101.com.
The instance that DARVO really stands out for me involves both my ex-husband and his attorney.
I already have a song for DARVO.
DARVO Queen. It's a good one.
Wait, are you saying it's my fault he was sneaking out of my home? They're really mad about this podcast. If that's not reverse victim offender, I don't know what is. That's DARVO.
All the time.
I got it. I'm Jenny Lynn.
And I'm Jen.
And we're
In High Conflict Hell.
And you might be too. If you know, you know, but let's make sure you're in the right place. Jen, are you in the right place?
Yeah. You're in the right place if you had to look up what DARVO means.
You're in the right place if you've already talked about DARVO and you still don't get it.
You're in the right place if you want to repeat the definition of DARVO.
You're in the right place if DARVO... I already have a song for DARVO, but I need to catch your one.
DARVO Queen. It's a good one.
You are the DARVO Queen.
It was pretty good. Okay. Thanks for that encouragement. I need it.
You're in the right place if you've experienced DARVO.
You're in the right place if there's not enough Lexapro or Zoloft outside of your prescribed dose to eliminate DARVO in this world.
Oh, man, that's funny.
I tried. Okay, what's DARVO, Jen? Can you explain to us again? Because you're our resident therapist. She's actually not a therapist.
Not yet. Okay. So DARVO is an acronym that stands for deny, attack, and reverse victim and offender. So to break down that acronym, in co-parenting, deny is when the co-parent denies that a specific event or agreement or a behavior that's typically harmful even took place. Then the attack is them attacking your character, credibility, or sanity for bringing up the issue. And then reversing victim and offender is when they twist the narrative so that they are the true victim of your harassment or control, painting you as the wrongdoer.
Well, according to every person out there, every mom is wrong for everything.
Wrongdoers.
Yeah, so it's my favorite statement. I tried my best, but I guess my best wasn't good enough. So, Daddy, write that in your next.
Her best isn't good enough.
She admits on
Love Daddy.
episode 57 that her best is not good enough for anybody. We agree.
So my client needs 24 more days.
Okay, if you're new here, Daddy, or if you just forgot, Daddy is Jen, my co-host, her ex-husband's lawyer, who loves to tell us what to do. And like naughty little girls, we hate to listen. So Daddy gets a lot of things right and wrong.
What does he get right?
He said that my domestic violence, well, it came across as your ex-husband. My domestic violence was severe and serious.
Oh, there we go. Right.
Definitely
Ding, ding,
right.
ding.
He definitely got it right when he said that I am enraged at the court system.
Uncontrollably angry. There we go. Right.
The way he phrased it was wrong, but the sentiment that I am uncontrollably angry at the court system
Okay.
is absolutely right. But his sentiment about being about me and a persona I've played on a podcast, definitely wrong. I'm enraged for my children who are living a hellish scape of a parenting schedule.
Yeah.
People get mad at us now for using the word high conflict because
It's a misnomer.
it is a misnomer. But it's the easiest way to describe it is that there's lots of people saying that, you know, in her custody case, there's lots of motions being filed. There's lots of gaslighting happening. And the only way to defend your constitutional right to your children is to participate in defending yourself. And by doing that, you are labeled high conflict. So that's Jen's story, is that she's going through a minor modification of a parenting plan that she's had in place for a few years. I went through a full-blown custody trial a few years ago. I walked out with less custody than I walked in with, per the typical statistic of if domestic violence is alleged in family court, you're more likely to lose custody of your kids.
As a woman.
Yeah, as a woman. So that's where we stand as we record this episode.
Yeah.
So, Jen, how has DARVO come into your custody case?
Every turn.
Has it? Explain.
Yeah, both from my ex-husband and from his attorney.
Daddy.
Daddy
also works for his mommy. And so there's a song that I really like to play about it. You might hear it a few times if you listen to some episodes.
You should do it right now.
Yeah, I will. Just so when you hear Daddy's a lawyer who works for his mommy, he literally works for his mommy. That's the only job he's ever had at a law school.
Yeah.
So I think it speaks volumes to his capacity as an attorney.
Daddy's a lawyer, working for his mommy.
Well, its capacity is 40 plus cases, and most of them are this high conflict that I know of.
Right?
A lot of them are high conflict, but I think
so. Daddy hates to give us content because he thinks our podcast is salacious, which is also another song I love to play.
Daddy thinks his podcast is salacious. He has no interest in providing content for it.
I am a music producer by night,
There he is again.
Extraordinaire.
podcaster by day, parenting plan 101 connoisseur by afternoon. If you need help forming your parenting plan, go over to parentingplan101.com. But
good.
music producer is really my true calling and passion.
So I think the first instance that DARVO really stands out for me as it involves both my ex-husband and his attorney, Daddy, is that this all started with our oldest child not going over to my ex-husband's house. My ex-husband agreed that she should not be forced.
How old is she?
She is now 13.
Okay.
He agreed that there were some very serious things that occurred at his own hand
Like?
that should not have happened.
Details?
Exposing her to his own self-produced pornography.
You guys, according to Jen, I have not seen it, but he was in this video that his daughter had to witness. And people can say all they want. It is serious.
Mm-hmm.
Exposing your daughter to that kind of pornography, starring yourself, is something. Imagine seeing your dad naked.
Yeah.
Now imagine seeing your dad
On top of that,
the pornography.
Yeah. Seeing all of those things, you're also seeing messages to and from your father of he and his mistresses, messages to and from his partner at the time, who our daughter absolutely loved, and messages about their breakup where they were ultimately kicked out of that house. And my ex-husband didn't say a word to them. So
Yeah. And then he moved him right back in with a new woman.
right in with a new woman.
Literally
Not
months
back.
later.
They never knew her.
Oh, they didn't know her? Well,
They did not
Jen
know
had
her.
caught wind of her because him and this woman had been having a long-term affair on and
Years
off
and years ago.
for years and years.
Mm-hmm.
But after ex-girlfriend broke up with him because of his cheating, he moved in with a new girl within months, sat all the kids down, told the kids, this is going to be your new family, mommy, stepmommy, stepsisters. We're buying a bigger house. We're getting 50% custody. It has come to light. He has even sent people messages saying that he was going to get full custody of the kids and move everyone to London.
Not me, not including me.
Yeah. Everyone but
it's
their mom.
really important to know that this conversation was had with this woman and my ex-husband and our children at a dining room table at her home before my kids even remembered her name.
Yeah, they used to call her one of the kids' mom. Like,
Yeah.
they'd be like, well, I'm just making
Sally's
up a
mom.
name. Sally's mom.
Yeah. They could not remember her name for the life of them. So
But when you have that many women coming in and out of your
hard
life,
to remember.
it is hard to remember.
Turns out, though, at the time they had this conversation with my kids, they were already married.
Yeah, they ran to the courthouse, literally ran. Apparently, as he has told everybody, not for love, for legal reasons.
I wonder if
Sorry,
they
new
rode
wife.
horses.
That's really hard to hear. What?
I wonder if they rode horses to the courthouse.
Maybe.
Or the elopement chapel is really what it was.
Yeah.
So to get back to the DARVO, my ex-husband acknowledged the fact that our oldest daughter was exposed to these messages and this pornographic content produced by him, starring him, in written messages a couple of times, and then took me to court for parental alienation because he alleges that I have alienated our child in court documents, but to my face, he alleges that he knows that I have never and would never alienate a single child from him.
Yeah, but in an attempt to get oldest daughter to get there, they filed a contempt motion. So your motion isn't a motion for alienation. It's a motion for contempt, saying that the other party is willfully disobeying a court order. And Jen was held in contempt over oldest child not going to her dad's.
Yeah, despite the fact that we had an agreement that where they should be at is reconciliation therapy.
In writing. That agreement was in writing.
Yep.
So just really, really be careful, you guys, because this is all warnings to everybody who's listening.
Yeah, so moving forward, and we're skipping a lot of details. We have a lot of content for you to go consume if you're really interested in this. But the basics are that my ex-husband and his attorney, denied the fact that our child was ever exposed to any of this content. No pornography, no messages or emails with other women. So it's the deny. And then the attack was that I, Jen, actually hacked his email, hacked his iMessage, and hacked his iCloud.
That if there was anything on oldest daughter's iPad, that it was Jen's fault because she clearly put it on there.
And then he said that he even alleged that I likely showed all of the children in the house to attempt to alienate them. Yeah,
God.
That was in that reply. And then the reverse victim and offender is not just that my ex-husband did this, provided the iPad, provided all of the parental control provisioning, placed this content on there, whether by accident or on purpose, but now they are accusing me of being someone that is alienating our child, which is reversing victim and offender. I've done nothing. I have attempted to be as cordial as possible. I've allowed my ex-husband into my home on multiple occasions, all while this is going on. I have attempted to maintain a good co-parenting relationship all while this stuff is going on. And still I was attacked, and my ex-husband has painted himself as the victim time and time again, which is actually the funniest thing in the world because he loves to tell people that I make a victim out of myself. It's one of his favorite things to tell people.
He also loves to tell people that you love telling people you enjoy being a single mom.
I enjoy being a single mom.
Yeah, the last couple episodes we talk about how Jen's ex-husband has been messaging my boyfriend Steve and saying that he's lost everything. He's lost his new wife. He's lost his stepchildren. He's lost his house and some time with his kids.
His house.
But he really has painted himself to be the victim now in this court process when he's the one who started it. He's the one who's filed 4 motions. He's the one who's hired an extremely aggressive attorney. It is a weird situation where you create an entire environment, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then within that environment, you paint yourself as now to be the victim of that environment.
Yeah.
That's DARVO.
All the time.
I got it.
Mm-hmm, you got it.
Ding, 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 ding.
Now, can you apply that to your situation?
No, I still can't.
What?
I know. It's really hard for me. I don't know how.
Okay, do that with oldest child right now. And some of the things that you've been catching him doing, which are not out of bounds for most teenagers.
Okay.
Yeah, you should get here.
So you identify the different parts of it while I tell the story.
Okay.
Okay, Jen?
Okay.
So my oldest son, he's almost 16.
Oh my God. Yeah.
And it's come to our attention that he has been sneaking out of my house.
Bad boy.
Yeah. And nothing outside the norm of regular teenage stuff is what I will say.
Mm-hmm.
He's a really good soul. He's a really good kid. But he's just engaging in some really bad choices, which all teenagers do.
Yeah.
And so we were at an appointment, him and I told another professional some of the stuff that was going on. And he got real mad at me.
Your son.
My son got real mad at me.
Yeah.
And he hadn't been to his dad's in almost 3 months. And immediately leaving that appointment, he was like, take me to my dad's. That's how mad he was at me. And I was like, fine, absolutely.
Yeah.
And so I did. And in the meantime, I sent his dad a message. After I dropped him off, I said, hey, here's some of the things that have been happening. Our son has been sneaking out at night. And you need to make sure you lock up any kind of anything that might be consumed by a teenager. Use your imagination, people. And my ex-husband's response to me was, should I read it?
Yeah.
Okay. So getting a message now from my ex-husband to me after I dropped my son off and kind of detailed the fact that he's been sneaking out and that my ex-husband should pay attention and lock up things if he doesn't want my son to have access to them.
Okay.
So my ex-husband's response is, Jenny Lynn, his behavior was strange back in March, just a few months ago, and I was giving him a hard time about grades and responsibility when he stopped coming over. It would be hard for him to sneak out of my house, that might be the reason he decided to start staying at yours full time.
So denying any wrongdoing of his own there. And be very clear, Jenny Lynn was making no accusations that her ex-husband was doing anything wrong
No.
or anything. Simply just providing information that any co-parent would want to know about the activities that your teenager is engaged in. Because, surprise, they're all going to do something.
Yeah.
But that is a clear denial of, he wouldn't have been doing that if he was here.
Yeah.
And you have to listen to the message to get there, but it is still very clear to me. It's a
Really?
denial. Yeah. Okay. But he goes on later on to basically say he will never be able to sneak out of my house. Basically, this is your fault, Jenny Lynn. There's a lot of messages, and I don't know that the contents are super important, but it is that won't happen here, and this is your bad.
Yeah.
And that is the attack.
What I will say is that when I read, I did think to myself, even just that one message, I thought to myself, wait, like, are you saying it's my fault he was sneaking out of my house?
Yeah, absolutely.
Are you saying that he only stayed at my house because you were keeping a better eye on him than me? And that's just how I read that. Whether or not that's what he intended or not, that's what I read.
He has sent you very clear messages, though, very recently, saying that it is your fault because you go to sleep at a reasonable hour.
He did send me a message that said that specifically.
Yeah.
That the reason why our oldest son wants to stay at my house is because I go to bed and don't pay any attention, and he can do whatever he wants.
Yep. And then the reverse victim and offender comes in when Jenny Lynn's ex-husband will regularly ask, well, what's going on with him? Well, what's going on?
Mm-hmm.
And Jenny Lynn shares some details about some of the things that their son has experienced and why he maybe is apprehensive to go to his dad's house. She shared some things about their other children and things that they are very clearly expressing, and they're not a secret. And he'll immediately act like he has no idea that any of those things existed. And this is all Jenny Lynn's fault, which is where the reverse victim and offender comes in. It's actually all your fault. He makes it sound as if you're keeping the children from him. Or you've planted things in their head to make them feel a certain way about them.
Even as of this morning, he constantly doesn't do his parenting time and then basically says it's a favor to me.
Yeah.
You know, even though I just got a message today that was basically like he can't make the pickup time. It's summer, and summer has always notoriously led to a lot of conflict between the two of us. And I have requested over and over to adjust that summer schedule so that there's not so many exchanges and so much conflict. Because whatever happens during the summer, my ex-husband cannot make the exchanges. He just can't do it.
Well, the funny thing is that you go to him and ask if you can just change the schedule in summer, and he says no. But it's clearly not working. And then you say, okay, let's go to mediation. And he says,
No.
Okay, we'll go to mediation, except for I'm just going to tell them that we need to leave the schedule the way that it is.
No, he point blank has said no to mediation.
Yeah.
He has agreed one time. And this is what I hate too. Like he agrees one time to mediation over the last like however many years. And it's like, oh yeah. Like you agreed 78 times to mediation, Jen. And they're still saying how resistant you are. No, is resistant to mediation.
Yeah.
And the one time he did agree to mediation, he said he'll go to mediation, but he's going to tell the mediator that we need to follow the plan exactly. Well, then why every summer when something comes up, you can't do the exchange?
Yeah.
And then what happens during the summer is he leaves the kids all day for work, even on exchange days. So they'll call me and they'll be like, could you come get us? Which I'm completely fine with.
Yeah.
And so I will.
Yeah.
And then what that turns into is, well, you wanted to. Well, they were home alone.
Yeah.
They called me. And so I will always pick my kids up if they need to be picked up.
Right.
And he knows that. And so on exchange day, when he's supposed to have them until 3, I have them from 8, 9, 10 in the morning and all day, right? And then on the day that's his day, he's asking that exchange to be pushed back.
Yeah.
And so the reality is that he barely then has them for like a 36-hour stretch.
Right.
Even though it's supposed to be 2 overnights, 3 days.
Yep.
It doesn't work out that way, which is completely fine. Let's just change the schedule then. But he doesn't want to change the schedule because he doesn't want it to be a 50-50 split during the summer because he can't do it. He wants me to pick up the slack during the summer and then not have to compensate me for it with money. And no matter what anyone says, this is all about money.
Yeah.
It's about money and ego. Men are that simple. Money and ego.
Well, you said that he wants you to pick up the slack. I think that he expects that you will pick up the slack because you have and you do.
He knows that I will.
He knows that you will every time.
As he argued during our entire 3-day trial, she will always do what's best for her kids.
And instead of the
Always.
judge going, wow, what a great mom. I'm so happy he recognizes that.
She restricted my freedom and ordered me to stay in a place where I no longer wanted to be. That's a whole nother story. You'll have to go
And
back.
feel safe.
Yeah, you'll have to go back and listen to 50 hours.
Yeah.
Because we're talking about DARVO today.
Well, Daddy, my ex-husband's attorney, also is enacting DARVO upon Jenny Lynn.
He's the queen of DARVO.
He
Daddy is the
loves
queen.
DARVO.
The DARVO queen.
You are the DARVO queen.
And my ex-husband also is DARVOing you. What is the verb of DARVO?
DARVOing.
DARVOing. They're DARVOing you. So first they deny that you had any domestic violence.
Deny, attack, reverse the blame, then say somehow I'm the one to blame.
Okay. And then they attack you and your character by saying that you are creating a persona that only suits a public platform that you've created a few years after your trial and the domestic violence even happened. And then they reverse this by saying Jenny Lynn's ex-husband needs to be protected from Jenny Lynn.
Yeah. Me to follow that logic is what I will say. Because it's
not
so
logical.
tenuous to me
Yeah.
that following that logical line gets like out of reach for me.
Well, because it's not logical.
Yeah. So wait, that's DARVO with his attorney. Deny, attack, reverse victim and offender.
Yeah. He's doing it for your ex-husband
He
Actually,
reversed
he needs to
victim
be-
and offender between me and my ex-husband.
by saying that he actually needed protection from you.
Right.
Because the court ordered
Right. Oh, he did the work for him. That was
Yeah.
probably free. That was free legal work.
pure legal work.
Good
It's a
job,
whole
Daddy.
mess. It's a whole mess.
Okay, so Jen, there was a motion to compel, and we've been talking in the last handful of episodes about this motion to compel.
Yeah.
Because they've really said a lot of things in this motion that have nothing to do with Jen getting a psych evaluation.
Yeah.
Because that's what they're asking for. Jen has agreed to do one. This is not even an issue, but this is Daddy's attempt to grab fees, is what it really seems like to us, if the court will see it that way.
It is an attempt for Daddy to also cover his ass legally from the things that he has alleged about Jenny Lynn, who is not a party to my case.
Yeah, but he keeps giving anyone who will listen, meaning a CPS supervisor, a guardian ad litem, Jen's attorney, those are three off the top of my head, one side of the mutual protection order entered in at the end of my trial, using that as a basis for the fact that my domestic violence was made up and that my ex-husband needed protection from me at the end of my trial. When the reality is, it was a mutual protection order entered at the end of the trial. I had a domestic violence protection order that was in place for over a year that Daddy fails to inform these professionals of. You guys, it's really bad legal practice.
You don't just accidentally do that. You don't go
No.
into a case file and find one thing and think that that's real.
Well, I don't even give him the luxury of actually justifying if it's intentional or not, because as practitioners, we have an ethical obligation for due diligence.
Mm-hmm.
So if we're sending over a framing of a case to people, our ethical obligation is to produce both sides of an order, number one. And if you're going to say that domestic violence allegations were unsubstantiated, you have a duty to make sure that that is grounded in fact.
Mm-hmm.
And there is a domestic violence protection order cited in my court of appeals case, which he forwarded on. It's cited all over my case.
Well, now it's all over
So-
the state because he's sending it to everybody who will see it.
Yeah, he really is.
Obsessed, obsessed.
And that is definitely reverse offender and victim.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't claim to be a victim.
No.
Let me just be very clear.
No.
Well, you know what? If I am a victim, I'm a victim of the court. I'm a victim of the system. As women, we are all victims. If you live in the United States, where the court does not protect you as a woman and your right to bodily autonomy, you are a victim of the men's ruling. Her problem is my problem. My sister's problem is a problem for all of us, all of our daughters, all of our mothers, all of our aunts, all of our nieces.
Yeah. And that is why you see all the time now is that attorneys and the general public are saying women need to stay out of family court
Yeah.
all the time.
That's a generalized statement. If you as a woman think you're different, I hope you don't find out otherwise, because it's a really brutal process when you do.
I just want them to be aware. So this motion to compel, there's details in other episodes, so we'll make it very quick. But they're basically saying that I'm refusing and non-compliant with a court order that orders a guardian ad litem evaluation. And the guardian ad litem recommended and requested mental health evaluations.
in the court. They check that box as part of their guardian ad litem.
Yeah.
Whatever.
For both myself and my
parties.
ex-husband. And all under the basis of my ex-husband stated in a written declaration that he thinks I'm crazy. And that's not the actual words verbatim, but that's what they said. They provided no proof, not a single instance, not an example, nothing. And the court just said, yeah, we should do that.
No self-disclosed diagnosis, no nothing. Zero. They just went to court and they said, we just think she has mental instability. And the court said, okay, here's a $10,000 bill, Jen, for a mental health evaluation. If you don't pay it, see what happens.
It sucks to be you.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of detail around this that we can't get into right now because we don't have time. You're going to have to go listen to that episode, which is called Motion to Compel.
Yeah.
And so they filed a motion basically requesting that the court come in and order that I have a mental health evaluation with a very specific provider. So I have requested that we choose a new evaluator, a new provider for the mental health evaluation because my ex-husband's attorney, which will be a surprise to no one if you're a longtime listener, that he has just gone in and attempted to bias this evaluator by saying things like, I'm non-compliant. This is basically who I am. Feel free to prove me wrong, he says. Just a lot of really inflammatory statements for absolutely no good reason. So from this guardian ad litem's approved list of providers that she asked us to go to, I went back to all of them and found someone that was available, had yet to be biased, and was cheaper. The guardian ad litem agrees to this person, but Daddy and his client, who is my ex-husband, do not like that. So they filed this motion. And in the motion, they basically say that my mental health is in controversy, my actions are consistent with me having a mental health issue, and just go on.
But still don't point to any specific actions.
Never.
Just generalize.
Never. And so I have an opportunity after they file that to respond with my opposition.
And what I do want to say leading up to Jen's response, because I do think your response is amazing, Jen.
Me and my attorney, we did a great work.
You guys did a great job. And what I want to say is that we were privy to email because Jen's ex-husband showed Jen an email that said from Daddy to him, we can file a motion against Jen for fees. I'm summarizing, but one way or another, you have to come up with some more fees. I don't work for free.
Because you can't afford the mental health evaluation. You've said as such. So let's file a motion for contempt against Jen again.
Yep. That's literally what this email said.
Yeah.
These are the kind of attorneys, you guys, that are out there. Okay.
Yep. So how it works is that the moving party, so my ex-husband, has a chance to talk as much shit as he wants in a document. And then I get to respond and talk as much shit as I want. And then they get the last word because they're the moving party.
Yeah.
So
this is your initial talking shit back.
My initial talking shit back. So they're going to quote that. So I'm going to summarize some of this and I'm going to read some of it. So I say there is no reason to stick with the initial provider as they've been biased, and that there's no reason for me to pay the attorney fees that they're requesting because this is a frivolous motion. As of May 6th, my ex-husband owed opposing counsel about $10,500, which I know from his billing statements and also the emails that my ex-husband shared with me from his attorney. So then I go on to explain that my ex-husband came to my home to discuss the case with me. He showed me a recent email from his attorney where his attorney forcefully questioned where my ex-husband would get the money to pay his outstanding legal fees in the evaluator. If not from me through a motion of some sort, my ex-husband then told me to take a picture of this email for my record because he was so upset about his attorney.
Read that part again, Jen, where you state very specifically to the court.
Yeah. So I say to the court that my ex-husband's attorney's current motion to compel and request for additional attorney fees, despite providing zero evidence of noncompliance, appears to be an attempt to generate funds to reduce my ex-husband's outstanding legal bill. And why this is super important, and I worded it this way intentionally, is that I feel very strongly that my ex-husband's attorney is taking advantage of him. So one could look at this and see that my ex-husband is signing all these declarations and signing all of these statements, and I don't disagree. He has a responsibility here. But he is so incredibly vulnerable right now. He has so much going on. He has so many mental health issues that he has self-disclosed. And now we have somebody that is poking him and pushing him and encouraging him to file things against me just for attorney fees because he, the attorney, is angry about a podcast.
Always getting set up by a stupid podcast.
And this is all speculation. But I feel very strongly that this is not my ex-husband's doing, because previously when he wanted to file motions against me, my ex-husband sent him a message that said, I told you not to threaten her with any more motions. We still ended up here. So, that's neither here nor there, but I think my ex-husband is being taken advantage of. My ex-husband has self-disclosed having a multitude of mental health concerns, including borderline sociopathy. And I think that his attorney has a responsibility to step back and see the mess that he has created, because he has intentionally created conflict to make money.
And even if there was a slight conflict, because
And there
clearly
was.
your oldest daughter wasn't going,
Yeah.
that he has an obligation to try and resolve conflict instead of throw gasoline on what is now a raging fire.
And that hurts our children.
Yeah.
Specifically, further damages the relationship between our oldest child and my ex-husband.
Absolutely, it does. Well, I want to read the part where it's very clear. As of May 6, 2026, ex-husband owed opposing counsel roughly $10,487.57. See below. On April 27th, ex-husband came to my home and discussed the case with me. That day, he showed me a recent email from his attorney to him, wherein his attorney forcefully questioned where ex-husband would get the money to pay his outstanding legal fees and the evaluator, if not from Jen, through a motion of some sort. Ex-husband requested that Jen take a picture of the email for her record. It's an exhibit, and it's from daddy to ex-husband. So it's from daddy attorney to his client, ex-husband. He says, the reality is I also need to be paid. How do you plan on paying my current bill and continue work on your case unless we request fees from Jen? I have done my best to keep your costs low and have done a significant amount for free on your case, given my sympathies for what Jen has put you through. But this is my job, and I do not provide free legal services. Please advise how you want to proceed on these two issues. I mean, I really think judges need to start holding attorneys accountable.
Yeah.
Is all that I really think when I read that.
Is it not clear to you that he's been trying to file a motion to get fees because he's not being paid?
It is insane that, and there are so many family law attorneys that are willing to destroy people's financial lives for their gluttonous profit.
Yep.
And I will say gluttonous profit, because I know daddy lives in a very expensive part of town and daddy loves to go on very expensive vacations, all while he is robbing a single mom of her mortgage.
Oh, and my ex-husband.
That is actually insanity to me, that you'd put your European vacation over another child's housing, another child's electrical bill. And if you don't see it like that, telling you that's what you're doing. And on top of it, you're purposefully then inflicting emotional damage, stress, all of the things on this mom in an effort to get her to pay money.
Mm-hmm.
That is an ethical practice of law. And if you think what you're doing is fine, great, and the family law system isn't broken, take a step back and look at what you're doing. See if you can.
He can't. I want to also say, though, I love being the center of attention, and I love that it's about me and that we're really worried about me and my money and finances. But what he's doing to my ex-husband can't even afford a place to live right now.
Yeah. And he's convincing him that this is the best means to spend his money.
Mm-hmm. And so if he's going to go on and try to press forward and get more custody or anything, you need to have a place to live.
Right. Do you, if you're a man?
I don't think so, but my children
Right?
deserve that.
Your
My children
do
do not deserve for him to be floating around couch to couch, worried about his drinking, worried about his mental health, worried about the way he treats people.
Yeah.
He needs help. The help he needs is not from the family law court.
Yeah.
The help that he needs is very serious, and I hope that he gets it, because my children deserve to have a healthy, mentally stable father. They do not have that, despite whatever they're saying about me.
No, they don't.
All of the things that I'm addressing are a response to things that he has said. So it's me sticking up for myself when being impacted by DARVO.
You are the DARVO queen.
Yeah, my ex-husband has gone on record and said that he denies having any mental health issues, even though he has borderline sociopathy.
Right.
And this is one way that we're going to show to you how I'm being DARVO'd. So then he goes on to attack me by saying that my mental health is in controversy.
Yeah.
Which is the legal argument that you need to have this motion to compel approved. That's the baseline. And so attacking me by saying I leave our kids alone all the time, I require that the oldest child takes care of the younger children, goes on to say that I have mental health issues, that I'm mentally unstable. He says that I've gaslit him for our entire marriage and that I have excessive mood swings, all of which are just not
And the reverse
reality.
victim offender,
Mhm.
they're really mad about this podcast. They're saying that us doing this podcast is, what do they call it? Scorched earth approach.
Mhm.
That's what they're saying. And if that's not reverse victim offender,
Mhm.
I don't know what is.
Yep.
Because us simply speaking out against the system is now us scorching the earth.
Always getting set off by a stupid podcast.
You have filed 4 motions against her. You have said that her home environment is disturbing, that she's being emotionally abusive towards her kids, that, what else have I
I'm
said about
mentally
you?
unstable.
Yeah, that you're mentally unstable.
I'm psychologically damaging our children.
Yes. And so then in response, right, we've decided to do this podcast and to speak out against these accusations. And now they're the victims of a podcast.
Right. And this podcast is not about them.
It is not about them.
Daddy has made it about him. Even my ex-husband's employer asked me today if there's a podcast and wanted to understand a little bit about it, and could not believe how many times that this attorney wanted to bring it up.
Yeah. This attorney's real mad about this podcast.
And now my ex-husband's employer knows about the podcast, where we don't name them.
You know what?
We
You
don't
know who
name
else knows?
Everyone.
72 countries know
Podcast.
podcast. Yeah. It's just interesting to me that our response has now become their entire storyline.
Right.
It's not about how maybe your ex-husband's behaviors have harmed his children, how maybe some of his behaviors have caused his children not to want to spend time with him and or a new family that he chooses for the month.
The flavor of the year.
Yeah. It's now the reaction, right, that has now made them into the victims of a podcast.
Yeah.
Which our biggest risk is losing our children. Your biggest risk is your ego being bruised because we
Being
made a
teased
silly
on a
song.
podcast.
Yeah, about you working for your mom or the fact that you have 4 days a month.
Well, and my ex-husband's attorney is using my ex-husband and his money to be mad about the podcast. And that is very clear to me. So we don't have any like direct evidence that that's what's going on, but it is so apparent that he's so mad about this podcast.
Well, and what I will say is that the RPCs do require that you fundamentally keep the best interest of your client at the forefront of your representation. And if you can't do that because you are blinded by rage about some personal issues, then maybe you should take a step back and look at the role, the profession, and see what you're doing.
Yeah. And if my ex-husband really genuinely only wanted mediation, then he should have stopped a long time ago and went and got a new attorney.
Yes, that is your ex-husband's job. Well, and I just want to get back to the fact that we're in a high conflict situation and like the misnomer, right, of we're in high conflict hell.
Yep.
Which we fully recognize that this is abuse, and we say it all the time. What most people experience in family law is abuse in one form or another, whether that's financial, emotional, whether they're there because of physical abuse, judicial abuse, all of it. So your ex-husband has brought this litigation, right? He's brought it up. You've responded to it,
Yep.
right? And his then response to that is DARVO. Go through DARVO.
Deny.
Okay, deny. This family law action isn't my fault. It's your fault because our oldest child wasn't coming to my house
Because you were alienating her.
because you were alienating her.
Yep. Attack.
Attack. That if there was stuff on our oldest child's iPad, it was because you put it there. I've never done anything wrong. You probably even damaged our other children further. Your home is a disturbing environment.
And the financial part here is a part of the attack.
Oh, yeah. Pay
So,
up.
Pay my
Pay up.
attorney's fees because you are a piece of shit who's alienating our kid.
And now reverse victim offender. That I am no longer the offender. I'm not the one who has brought all this action. I'm not the one who has brought all this court stuff. You're the one who is having the scorched earth approach. Look at your podcast.
Always getting set
Done.
off by a stupid podcast.
So, yeah.
So good.
Well, because I do have a hard time with this concept.
You're doing really great today.
Oh, thanks. But the logic of it is very stretched to me.
Yeah.
You know, that line to me doesn't go in a straight line. It doesn't. It's like a little bit ping-pongy, like bounce, bounce,
It's a pinball
bounce,
machine.
bounce.
It feels like a pinball machine.
And it feels like it when you're in it too. It's like a whirlwind of like confusion. Like, wait a second. Did I do that or did they do that? Am I defending myself or am I attacking them?
Yeah. Well, and what's so funny about that is that I tried for so long to verbally tell my ex-husband, I'm trying to leave the pornography out of any of these court filings. I am trying to leave your mental health out of these court filings because I didn't want to do that to him.
Yeah.
Now I did, and now I'm scorching the earth. And if that's the fucking way I have to go, that's the way that I have to go. But what is very interesting to me is that Daddy, the attorney, his emails have so frequently led with a link to our podcast.
Yeah.
My ex-husband's text messages to many people start with the podcast, then move on to his wife, and then move on to his stepkids, who he hardly knows. And then sometimes includes missing our children,
Yeah.
but not usually. So when I'm thinking about how upset I am about things, I always start with my kids. That is what I'm thinking about first, is first my kids and then my home and then my finances so that I can take care of said kids.
Well, and here's the thing. If they're that upset about this podcast, how about try a settlement?
How about
How
shut
about-
the fuck up?
Yeah, no, and I'm not kidding.
Me either.
If you are that upset about us talking about the conflict, how about try and resolve the conflict? I love how they're just walking around screaming, but there's so much conflict and there's so much. Everything we're saying is let's try and resolve this. Let's try for family law court reform. Let's try to give people the educational tools to stay out of court. Let's try to make sure that people know what's happening out there before you get in it. And all they're walking around screaming is, but you're crazy. Trying to fix this shit. And we're not doing a very good job.
No, we're not. But
No.
that's
It's like the trap
that's
that
it.
people experiencing DARVO get put into, right? Is that you're now defending yourself from all these accusations, from now you're being called an offender when you feel like a victim. So you're trying to explain to people how this isn't actually your fault. And now you're being labeled high conflict like your two kids in the sandbox. And that is a very difficult pill to swallow. And as a person who has been on the other side of this now for years and years and years, it seeps into your soul where you feel like, is this my fault?
Mhm.
What did I do to do this? I just want this to end. I want my kids to not have to experience any of this.
And our children will have to experience this forever. And that's
Yeah.
the best part.
And these are lifetime relationships, people. And your kids are only kids for a blink of an eye, and then they're adults. And then you have to walk around and try and explain this shit for the next 30, 40, 50 years. And that sucks.
Yeah.
That's horrible.
It's going to be crazy one day when my children get to reflect on their childhood as adults, and they get to make the decision if they thought that I was emotionally abusive or mentally unstable.
Well, and what I will say too, it's always easier to be the person who's the pushover. It's always easier to be the person who just says, okay, well, just let that happen. It's way harder to be the people in front of the microphones and people pointing the fingers of, you just took that wrong. Look, what she's saying isn't right. Look, oh, but they didn't mean it like that. When you're the person experiencing it and saying, but this has to stop. You have to stop the initial action. And it doesn't feel good, is what I'll say, to be on this side of the microphone.
No.
Way easier to be on the other side of the microphone and be like, you're just crazy. And what you're doing is just creating a persona for a podcast. And look at you. Look at me exposing my life, exposing my deepest insecurities and my vulnerabilities, and how this has affected not only me, but my children, and how this is affecting women all over the world for hopefully the sake of change, while you just get to sit there and say, it's her fault.
Why is she doing that? I'm sitting here talking about the chlamydia that my ex-husband gave me from cheating on people on the internet. Do you think I want to fucking do that?
Right.
No, but it sends the message because I am one of a million.
Yeah.
So many people find out about their partner's affairs
Yeah.
through STDs.
Yeah.
And that doesn't feel comfortable. And now watching what he is doing to our children, not okay. None of these things are fucking okay. And I am not the problem for talking about it. And you can say that I am. Doesn't make it true. You can say I'm mentally unstable. Doesn't make
it
me
true.
unstable.
No.
And this idea that having a panic attack means
Yeah.
that you are unable to perform the necessary functions of parenting while you're not saying, let me step in and assume the majority of the necessary functions of parenting, makes you look like a loser.
Yeah. I think so too.
And you know what's so funny is that my ex-husband used to come to me all the time when he would have a mental health issue. I've never used that against him because I want him to be happy and healthy. And in the reverse, when I had things and I was struggling, he would be sometimes the first person that I would call. Not because I was unstable, but because I was a young mom raising 3 kids, trying to figure out how to navigate a career after going from being a stay-at-home mom for 6 years. And that is the right thing to do. As the father of my children, he was the right person to call for support because those are our children. We share those children. And now that that's all being thrown in my face as I had excessive mood swings and I was a gaslighter, well, you're fucking anything with 2 legs.
Yeah. Well, with that, Jen and Darvo.
Yeah.
Darvoing, what's not the worst thing that happened to you this week?
Annie Lynn was so gracious and took me and my kids to Great Wolf Lodge for a night. It was so fun.
So nice.
And on the way down there, Jenny Lynn and I are the funniest people we've ever met in the front 2 seats of the car. And our children are safely in the back seats of the car, so you can't add that to a motion to
Buckled
compel.
up. They had their seatbelts on.
Seatbelt.
Daddy.
And we're laughing, and we turn around and look at the kids and we're like, why don't you guys think we're so funny? We're poking at them. And my oldest child, who's 13, says something about me not being very funny. And Jenny Lynn goes, can I ask you, did she get funnier when you guys bought that house? And no.
I said, was your mom even funny before she moved in next door? And your oldest child said, she definitely got way funnier after she moved in next door to you. And I said, I could imagine. She's probably learned
This
a
is
lot
Darvo.
from me throughout the years of how to really entertain.
Yeah, I totally agree.
That's how it happened.
That was not the worst thing that happened to me this week. And honestly, my kid is so fucking funny for
She
being
is
able
really
to play
funny.
right into that
Yeah.
hand. Okay, what's not the worst thing that happened to you this week?
Okay, not the worst thing that happened to me this week is that, like Jen said, we were at Great Wolf Lodge for a night and there was a bunch of cheerleaders there. And Jen used to be a cheerleader. Okay. So we were both learning a couple cheers from a couple different groups.
3, a few. We were
Let's
all over
do
that
the
place.
Davis Rumble. Let's do the Davis
Davis
Rumble.
Rumble.
There was, a couple of them that we were better at than,
Yeah.
not the worst. And after one of the girls was leaving, we said to her, "Hey, thanks for teaching us that cheer. It was really fun." And she said, "Oh, no problem. I like to talk to old people."
I could not believe this.
I was dead.
It
I
was
was laughing so hard.
She was also the sweetest little thing
She
in
was
the
very
world. She
cute.
meant that with her full heart, which
Yeah.
makes it that much worse.
Yeah,
She wasn't trying to be
was
funny.
Clap, clap, snap, snap, did me all the
Yeah.
way to the water slide. I was dying. So, what's your week in hell, Jen?
My week in hell is that I had to go to my ex-husband's employer this morning for a very long interview around the things that they're investigating him for. And it just feels like every time I turn around, while I'm trying to be a really good mom, I have to relive these things again and
Yeah.
again and again. And everybody is just trying to get him the help that he needs so that our children have a father that they deserve.
Yeah. No, and you're doing the best you can.
Yeah, it's really long. It's a long drive.
But we just
It's
get caught
tiring.
in the place of having to defend, explain, justify,
Mhm.
provide evidence, and whether or not it will even be taken into account, who knows?
Well, my ex-husband's attorney is what I would say is unethically saying that he doesn't even know that this investigation is happening. That he has no information around it, which is just not true. And he's saying it to the court. He's not saying it to my attorney.
yeah, you have to be careful what you assert to the court in false statements.
He doesn't.
No,
He gets away with
doesn't.
whatever he wants.
He does not.
Yeah.
He does not care.
Okay, what's your week in hell, Jenny Lynn?
So yeah, my week in hell
Was not being called old by a cheerleader?
was not being called old by a cheerleader. It is worse than that.
Being old.
Being old, actually, yes. And I'll say all day long that I can brush off the comments on social media or whatever. But exposing yourself like this is definitely outside my comfort zone, despite that Daddy thinks I'm creating a persona for a podcast. This was never my dream to have a persona as a family law advocate. It's like actually like love to have a persona on a podcast as like a reality TV expert.
It would not be that.
Or a resort connoisseur. I would love to be the 4 Seasons girl. Like,
No.
I could go to all the 4 seasons.
You can be the Lexapro girl.
Yeah, I could have lots of personas, but it does really feel like bringing someone into your living room and letting them comment on, and I'm knowingly doing that. But I have said, and I'll say again, what Daddy is doing is he's bringing up my personal life, my kids, my domestic violence. But I am bringing everyone into my home, and let's all go into your home and your vacations and the price of your home and see what you're actually paying for through your unethical practices. And this is what people do for preachers.
Yeah.
Is what I will say.
Oh, Joel
that-
Osteen and
yeah,
his multi-million dollar
At some
mansion.
point, when you're up on a stage, which courtroom is a stage, it's a theater.
Hey, Your Honor.
Pretending to advocate for the best interests of children and profiting off of that in a way of $1 million homes and fancy vacations.
Yeah.
Where does that land you in life? Next to Joel Osteen is what I'll say.
Profiting off of the pain of my children.
Yeah.
Not okay.
Not okay.
Profiting off of the pain of my ex-husband, although he has a huge significant part to play in this, also not okay.
Yeah.
Profiting off of attempting to hurt a woman that has, for all intents and purposes, always been the primary caretaker of 3 children for the last 14 years, not okay.
Yeah.
Profiting off of bringing in a third party's domestic violence restraining order or
minimizing it, dismissing it,
yeah,
saying that I'm creating a persona of severe and serious domestic violence that doesn't actually fit. These are all things personal about my personal life.
In my custody case that I did not bring forth, it is crazy.
Yeah, it is just an interesting take, and it's just like I said, I'm swallowing the pill, and it's fine, and it's as I've said in my comment section though, I'd pay whatever price it was at this point to hopefully advocate, to raise awareness and to bring attention and to bring education. Yeah. Because ultimately that is what I want to do, is that I want to help people educate themselves on how to stay out of family court and write their parenting plans in a way that hopefully keeps them out of court and away from attorneys like this.
And benefits the kids.
Even the parenting plan that Jen's under right now, written by Daddy, is atrocious. He put together a parenting plan that is filled with high conflict terms in a case where he stood up there and said, Your Honor, this is high conflict. So just remember that when you're taking the advice of someone who is getting paid off of conflict.
Yeah. And one thing we're going to still do, we have a huge backlog of episodes of other people's stories. One thing we're going to get up eventually is going to be looking for what you would look for in a family law attorney if you were actually looking. And one thing that I think would be really important, I'm going to just ask the question now, is if you have what you think is maybe low to medium conflict or no conflict and you're going to an attorney and your goal is something like mediation, or your goal is just going to be, minorly modifying your parenting plan, I would ask them to share with you some of their track record. They should answer you, I would assume. If you have 40 cases and 25 of them have resulted in a guardian ad litem and
see, you wouldn't even know that question to ask.
No, you wouldn't. That's why I'm saying it. That's exactly why I'm saying it, because my ex-husband would have no idea if he went in there saying, I want to go to mediation.
And it's like going into a dentist office and you just have a toothache and you walk out with a full set of new veneers.
Yeah, and you didn't ask
because you didn't ask, you didn't know, you had no clue what was going on in there. You just knew you had a little ache in your mouth.
You would never know.
And you would never know. And then once they're in, they say, oh, but then this tooth. Oh, but then that tooth. Oh, we could take this approach. Now you trust them, and now you it happens in the dentist office, it happens in the car shop.
Well, and that's why I've been so adamant around my argument that I believe my ex-husband is a victim to this man for so long, is because I think that's absolutely something that has happened.
Oh, yeah. No. And it's, just be careful out there, educate yourself, and come back and see us next week.
See you over the fence.
See you over the fence. Bye.
Bye.